Operational teams need more than task tracking. They need live intelligence. What's moving, what's blocked, who owns the next step, and where risk is building. In this module, we'll look at how AI turns workflow signals into clear status summaries and smarter actions. We've built the foundation: what Regrello AI is, why it matters, and how to design AI-powered workflows. Now we shift from creating workflows to understanding them in motion, spotting status, bottlenecks, improvement opportunities, and the decisions that need support. Process visibility turns scattered workflow activity into a shared operating picture. Teams can see what is waiting, what is moving, who owns the next step, and where delays or exceptions are starting to appear. AI adds another layer by interpreting those signals. Instead of asking people to inspect every task, approval, deadline, and dependency manually, AI highlights patterns, risks, and priorities. That changes coordination. Teams spend less time chasing updates and more time resolving blockers, acting early, and making decisions from the same facts. Workflow status intelligence depends on 4 signals working together. Current status shows where each item stands: active, completed, delayed, or blocked. Ownership makes accountability explicit, so the next handoff does not disappear into a shared inbox. Timing adds urgency by comparing due dates, elapsed time, and overdue conditions. Actionability turns observation into guidance by identifying missing inputs, stalled approvals, or the best next step. AI becomes useful when it connects these signals, so teams can move from "what is happening" to "what should we do now?" Status views make process tracking easier to use in daily operations. Instead of asking for updates across emails or meetings, teams can see which work is finished, what is moving now, what is coming next, and where action is blocked. The most useful views combine status, ownership, and timing. Every task should have a responsible person or team, a due date, and a clear signal showing whether it is on track, at risk, waiting, or overdue. Different roles may need different levels of detail, but the goal is the same: faster decisions and fewer surprises. Status indicators give everyone a quick way to interpret workflow activity. On track means continue as planned. At risk means pay attention before a delay occurs. Blocked means progress has stopped until something is resolved. Overdue means the expected date has passed and follow-up is needed. Good workflow visibility looks different depending on the role. A contributor needs clarity. What am I responsible for? When is it due? And what input do I need next? A manager needs a wider view of progress, workload, bottlenecks, and risks. Process owners need to know whether the workflow is healthy end-to-end, including exceptions and compliance checkpoints. Executives need the shortest version: outcomes, delays, and business impact. AI helps by translating the same workflow data into the right level of detail for each audience, reducing noise while improving decisions. In busy workflows, important signals are often buried in comments, task changes, approvals, and reminders. AI summarization acts like a highlight reel. It scans the activity trail, identifies what changed, and turns it into a clear update: completed work, blockers, overdue items, missing inputs, and deadlines. The same activity can become a stand-up note, a weekly report, or an executive briefing. The key is not replacing judgment. For sensitive or high-impact updates, people should review the summary before it is shared. A good AI status summary should make a project easier to understand, not just shorter to read. Start with accuracy. Every claim should trace back to real workflow data, such as owners, dates, task status, and comments. Then check relevance. The summary should answer the reader's likely questions and leave out details they cannot act on. Concision matters, but not at the cost of needed context. Most importantly, the summary should point toward action. If there is a blocker, overdue item, risk, or decision needed, that should be obvious before anyone has to dig. Imagine a manager opening a workflow after a busy day. The raw feed shows completed tasks, comments, uploaded files, delays, and approval outcomes. It is useful but not immediately actionable. AI can turn that activity into operational meaning. What moved forward, what is at risk, what is blocked, and who must decide next. The value is more than summarization. It reduces follow-up questions, clarifies accountability, and helps managers act faster with less context switching. Next best action support closes the gap between knowing there is a problem and deciding what to do next. The workflow provides signals: an overdue task, missing information, a stalled approval, or an exception. AI evaluates those signals against business rules, urgency, impact, and ownership. Then it suggests a practical response, such as sending a reminder, escalating the issue, requesting data, reassigning work, or following up on approval. The user still reviews the recommendation, but the decision starts from context instead of guesswork. That makes action faster, more consistent, and easier to prioritize. Think of AI follow-up as a trigger and response system. The AI is not guessing randomly. It watches for workflow signals that usually mean risk: a task past its due date, a required field left blank, an approval sitting untouched, or an exception that breaks the normal path. Each signal maps to a likely next action, such as sending a reminder, requesting missing information, escalating to a backup approver, or routing work to a specialist. The key design question is where human judgment is required, especially when a recommendation affects priority, compliance, or ownership. Effective status intelligence starts with a simple question: what decision does this person need to make next? From there, prioritize the signals that answer the question and hide noise that only adds cognitive load. A manager may need blockers, risks, and approvals. A contributor may need their next task and dependencies. Use secure, role-based views so insight stays relevant and appropriate. Then connect summary metrics to recommended actions, such as approve, review, or escalate. Finally, let users drill into the workflow evidence so they can trust the recommendation and act quickly. Trustworthy AI status intelligence starts with grounded data. Summaries and recommendations should trace back to workflow records, task updates, comments, and configured business rules. The AI interpretation also needs to be explainable, especially if it could trigger an escalation, affect compliance, or change a customer commitment. Before action is taken, users need the chance to review, challenge, or override the recommendation. Governance also means permissioning. People should only see information appropriate to their role. When transparency, auditability, access control, and human oversight are built in, AI becomes a decision support layer, not an unmanaged decision maker. The big lesson is that visibility is not just reporting. Status views show what is happening, AI summaries explain what matters, and next best action guidance helps teams respond before delays become bigger problems. With that foundation, we can move from tracking work to improving work, using bottleneck detection and decision support to strengthen operations and compliance.